Today, I'm spilling the tea. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. Hey guys, welcome back to Confessions of a Girl Boss. My name is Chrissy and I help women turn their passion into their business. Today I am spilling the tea on that time that Etsy almost ruined my life. If you are new here, I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday helping you turn your passion into your business. Right now we are on our Etsy series and I'm sharing everything Etsy related. We're going to be talking about SEO later on next week, and we've already talked about fees, which I will link up here. I will leave linked up here, and we have also talked about digital products, and I do have a digital product or a digital freebie going out with my email list right now. I will leave a link to that in the first line of the description box down below if you want to grab that, but it is your step-by-step guide to creating your first digital listing on Etsy. I also answer some frequently asked questions that I get asked about digital listings on Etsy, so definitely go snag that. Like I said, it is free. And if you are not already subscribed and you do enjoy these types of videos, be sure to hit that red button down below. It'll notify you every time I upload a new video. Okay, so if you guys have been following me in some shape or form for a while, you will know that I actually started my Etsy shop when I was living in Canada. Now I do live in Arizona right now, but I started my Etsy shop when I was living in Calgary in Canada back in 2015. So when I set up my shop, I had everything Canadian. I had a Canadian bank account linked to my shop. I had it listed in Canadian dollars, and I had my shipping from Canada. I had like the whole location from Canada, obviously, because that's where I was living. So I ran my shop, Popco Stickers, from Canada for almost 2 years until our visas were up in June 2017. So it was about like a year. It was almost 2 years. It was like a year and 8 months, I want to say, a year and 9 months. So in June 2017, we made the decision to not continue our visas or not try and like extend our visas in Canada and move down to the US. So we picked Arizona and we were so excited for it, obviously. The weather, the heat, the weather. I mean, that was basically the reason why we moved down here. But yeah, so we were all packed up and ready to go, and if you guys don't know, my husband is Irish, so he actually got stopped at the border and he wasn't allowed in. His visa took way longer to get processed than we thought it was going to take. So he was actually turned away at the border. We had to drive the 3 hours back to Calgary. Now, we drove down to the border like we were nervous about it, but Irish people can get into the US. This is like totally besides the point. Irish people can get into the US like on visitor visas without like having an actual visa. So that's what we were kind of getting him in on. But they didn't believe that he was actually going to leave since he had an outstanding like permanent residency visa pending. So they sent him away. So we drove the 3 hours back up to Canada. He left and flew back to Ireland, and I actually didn't see him again until October. So it was July, August, September. It was over 3 months that he was in Ireland. My dad flew from Ireland to Canada and drove down to Arizona with me. So basically I was transferring my business from Canada to the US, and there is going to be like some lessons learned in this video, so definitely stay tuned for that. This isn't just like a fluff like story time video. So the physical move of my shop was fine. I mean, I just moved all my machines and my supplies and stuff. That wasn't a big deal. But the issue came when I decided to, I didn't decide, I mean I had to switch all of my banking details to my new US bank account when I opened that up. So turns out when you move to a different country, you cannot change your Etsy information. Etsy, when this was happening, and I don't believe they allow this to this day, they do not let you change your bank information cross-country. So I was stuck having a Canadian bank account with my banking information on Etsy where all of my deposits were going from Etsy because I had Etsy direct payments at the time, or Etsy payments at the time, which I talked about in my fees video that I will leave linked up here. I had all of my Etsy payments going into this Canadian bank account. And meanwhile, my money was running out. Obviously, Gary going back to Ireland, I think his flight ended up costing us like $1,500 because he had to get a flight like right then because his visa was expiring in Canada, so we didn't want to get in trouble on that front. Moving into a new apartment, furnishing a new apartment, we definitely weren't very good at saving our money back then, so we didn't have a lot saved for the move, which was dumb. And I will be talking about like the importance of saving money from your business at a later date. I was running out of money. So I called Etsy and I was like, what's up? Like, why can't I do this? And essentially they brickwalled me. They basically just told me there's no way you can do it. You're going to have to open up another shop if you do want to change your bank information, or you're going to have to keep your Canadian bank account open. So keep in mind, at this time I had almost 20,000 sales on my Popco stickers shop. I had like thousands and thousands of favorites and reviews, and credibility is huge, especially on a platform like Etsy. It is hard to build that rapport and build that trust and credibility with your customers. So I was devastated. So I called my bank in Canada to see what the options were in that sense. And they essentially told me that I couldn't do cross-border transfers unless I was in a branch. And I had TD Bank at the time, and they don't have any branches in Arizona. So basically, they brickwalled me too. I just kept hitting brick wall after brick wall, and I was already so stressed with my husband not being there and having to deal with all of this stuff on my own and moving on my own and living on my own. That was another brick wall. Then, I'm not sure what happened, but I did post in an Etsy sellers group, like my situation, and somebody said to open up a cross-border account that you could like transfer from. So I guess it was kind of like a dummy account in Canada that would like automatically transfer to your US account. I'm not entirely sure how it worked, but essentially you couldn't do it from Canada to the US. Of course. Brick wall number 3. So I called Etsy again, and I'm pretty sure I cried on the phone because I was so upset because I had no way to access my money from Canada to pay my rent, to pay my bills. I had no way to do this. So what they did is they escalated my issue to a supervisor. She read over it and she basically told me the same thing. So I replied to the supervisor and I begged her in this email. I was like, please, I keep hitting brick walls. I'm like, my husband was sent away at the border. I'm running out of money. I have no way to do this. I asked them if I could open up a new shop and if they could transfer all of like my reviews and sale numbers and favorites and stuff over to it, because I told them, I was like, you guys know like credibility is so huge on Etsy that they're super important. And I think what pissed me off most at the time was at that time I was giving Etsy like over $800 a month in fees, and I was pissed because like you would think like your seller who's paying you so much money a month, like you want to help them, right? And they did help me, so this is a good story, but they did help me. But at the time I was like, screw this, I am done with Etsy, I can't believe this, blah blah blah. So eventually she replied to me like a few days later and she said, okay, we're going to make an exception and we are going to put you on the exempt from Etsy payments list. I guess this is a thing. I don't know if it's like a broad thing or how long the list is, but essentially I am still on that list. So what they did for me is they turned off Etsy payments on my store so I could just use my PayPal account for all of my payments, which meant I could open up a US PayPal account, which, fun fact, you also cannot change your country information on your banking details on PayPal either. So I had to open up a new PayPal account, which wasn't a huge deal at all because like it's just PayPal, so it was fine. But that's also something to keep in mind. So yeah, they turned off Etsy payments and they basically just told me you can have PayPal only on your store. Your customers will be automatically transferred over to PayPal to complete their purchase. And this, like, when they told me this, I cried. And they basically told me, because another issue that I was having was I couldn't get my bank to send me a check with any of my money unless I closed my account. So I couldn't get my money unless I used my debit card, but like I couldn't pay my bills with my international debit card, and it was all just a mess. So I couldn't actually access my money until I figured out my situation with Etsy. So it was all just like this big vicious circle of one person or one thing, one issue kind of like causing a problem with another thing, which was causing another problem with another thing. So when they put me on that exempt list, I was so happy. Like, you guys have no idea. So to this day, I am still on that exempt list from Etsy payments on that one store. And I was just so grateful when they finally helped me out, because it was a rough summer. It was a rough time in my life, and just to finally know that like somebody was kind of like helping you out and being like, okay, here's a bone for you, like, that was so helpful. So I guess the lesson of this story is, know that if you are planning on moving from one country to another, look into that cross-border account option. Like I said, I don't know if Etsy adds a lot of people to their exempt list. Like, I don't know how common this is, but just know that there are a lot of details that might not be easily transferred from one country to another. And I definitely thought, like, because it was like the same continent, like Canada to the US, like it's not that big of a move. You would think that it would be easy, but it really wasn't. So yeah, I hope that kind of gives you a little insight into my Etsy history. I did open up a Shopify after that incident happened, just because I did want more control over my business. It's hard, especially when you rely on your business, to know that there's someone else calling the shots. And yeah, it was a big eye-opener for me. So while I do love Etsy and I do continue to sell on Etsy, I am aware that it's not all up to me. My business is not all up to me. It is up to this other platform that can kind of pull the plug on you whenever you want. So I hope that was insightful. If you have a similar situation, or if you moved cross-country or cross-border with your business, leave me a comment down below. And if you like these kind of story time type videos about my business, let me know as well. But I hope you all have a great weekend. Happy Friday. Stay safe and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.